Hello, hello. Welcome to another live here at Mi Escuelita Online Academy. I am your host, Lina Munoz. I am the founder, CEO, and head teacher at Mi Escuelita Online Academy. Thank you for joining us. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Now, while I check really quick to make sure we're live on our Facebook group, hashtag live if you're watching us live, or hashtag replay if you're watching this at a different time. I am going to quickly make sure that we are live in the group. All right. If you're watching us live, okay, let me lower that down. I had to switch cameras. My StreamYard camera was acting like if it was Wednesday. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're talking about something super important. How can you help your child learn to read in 12 weeks? Now, I asked here in the group, who thought reading was fundamental to your child's education? And everyone agreed, absolutely. Reading is fundamental, not only to reading success, but to success in math and science, history, success in everything, right? So, how do we teach our children to read? Let's talk about that today. I am going to share my screen. Give me a second. Here we go. All right. I think I am. Oh, where did it go? All right, let's give it a second to come up here, making sure that you're able to see. Awesome. So again, welcome to another online workshop by Mi Escuelita Online Academy. Let's talk reading. So first let's talk about, who is this training for? If your child is struggling with the basic foundational skills, this training is for you. If you're worried that your child is not on track for kindergarten or want them to reach new heights, maybe you're worried your child is in a different grade level and is falling behind, and you value your child's education and want them to excel. Maybe they're in first, second, or even third grade and they're falling behind in their reading skills. This training is for you. If you need expert help from a teacher that cares about your child's success, this training is for you. If you're a parent who's prepared to invest the time, energy, and effort to help your child be on grade level and beyond so they can be top performers, this training is for you. So here's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn the STEP method. Now, I'm going to go through each of these in detail, but let me just give you a brief overview. The STEP method consists of solid foundation. That's like the basic knowledge that children need to learn. Literacy, numbers, the transferable skills that they can use in any area of their life. Step 2 is all about talk or communication. It's challenging students to be able to communicate what they're learning, to be able to engage in conversations. Step 3 of this method that I developed is evaluation. It's super important that students are able to reflect on their decisions and be able to say, hey, am I moving towards my goal? And yes, little ones can do this, absolutely. Step 4 is perseverance. So critical that students are able to have that self-confidence and find healthy ways to deal with challenges, because we all know that even though we wish we were there with our kiddos all the time, they're going to be facing challenges in all aspects of their lives, and we want them to be able to deal with those in a healthy way. Okay, so let's make an agreement. I am going to show you in this training the skills that are fundamental to a lifetime of learning. What I would love for you to do is take action. And that can mean maybe you right away you start implementing these with your kiddos. That would be awesome. Maybe you share it with a friend or a loved one that you feel could benefit from these action steps. And along this training, I'm going to show you how to get support in implementing this in your child's journey. Because again, we are at Mi Escuelita Online Academy. We're here for our families. We are a team. So if your child is 3 to 6 years old, maybe 3 to 8 years old, and is experiencing any of these problems, maybe they're struggling with learning. Maybe practicing is a nightmare when it comes to reading. Maybe they're anxious and overwhelmed and they don't want to go to school. Maybe you've tried everything and you're worried that they won't be successful or are being held back. Maybe your child has learned everything that they need to know in their grade level and you're wanting to have them excel and do even more. We can help. That's what this training is all about. First, let's talk about why the problems exist. Hi, Mia. Why do these problems even exist? Well, here's a reality. When students go to school, the class sizes are big. I know I asked my children, I have 4 beautiful children, how many kiddos are in your class? 25, 28, the older kids, 29. Class sizes are big. And the reality is there's only one teacher, and this amazing teacher has to be able to work with all the students who are at different levels. And that is very challenging. The other reason why students are struggling right now, or maybe aren't getting all the support to move forward if they're at grade level. So I'll give you an example. Like my daughter, she is definitely at grade level. She's doing amazing, she's doing well. But how much has she grown throughout the year? Not as much as I would have liked. And absolutely, that falls on me, right? Because I'm her mom. Well, if I had placed all the responsibility on the teacher, she wouldn't have moved very much this year. I was able to work with her. Dad was able to work with her, and we were able to keep her moving forward in her academic skills. But the reality is, when it comes to teaching, not only do you have to teach to all these different levels, you have to implement mandates that are given to you by administration, by school boards. You have to do duty. You have to do so many things as a teacher. There's checklists beyond checklists of things that you have to do. Not only plan for one subject, reading, writing, math, science, but then plan for all the different ability levels. For the students that are having trouble with behavior, emotionally, there is so much that goes into teaching. And a lot of the times there's very little support. So if as a parent, I put all my emphasis, okay, the teacher will take care of it. The teacher will take care of it. I'm going to be truthful. It might not happen. It might not happen because it's not that the teacher doesn't want to teach, but that's a lot to do with 25 plus kids. And that's where the problems exist. Another reason why our students are struggling is because the school system is very inflexible. My daughter, she's in kindergarten, and maybe she in different areas, she's at a first grade level, but no, she has to stay in the kindergarten classroom. The people that are running the schools feel like, okay, if I bought a book and we bought this book as a district to teach our kids reading, that's what we're going to use. Maybe not realizing that this book might not be what works for everyone, right? Hi, Marilyn. And understanding that all kids are different and that there is a lot that a teacher has to deal with. And sometimes those school systems aren't flexible to support students or teachers. So what advice are we given? the schools say, well, work on it at home, right? And they give us a lot of good ideas. Some of them is like, okay, read at home. In order to improve their reading, read at home. And it's a beautiful idea. We should all be reading, and absolutely a great habit. Does it happen all the time? No. Do we wish it would happen more often? Yes. Sometimes we're told, okay, help them with their homework. I don't know about your children, but my littles will tell me that's not how the teacher taught us, and I'm like, but this is how I know it. And we end up looking like that, like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of homework. Um, and then it becomes a stressor between parent and child, and then eventually the home and the school. Sometimes we're given these awesome, amazing programs to use at home on the computer. And some of them are great, but the reality is kids get stuck. And when they get stuck, yes, the computer system is going to try to help them through the challenges. But the reality, it's a computer system. It's not a person. It's not a teacher. They're not going to be able to dive and weave through to be able to give that child the explanation that they need. And that's why these problems exist in reading and learning in general. So online versus in person. Another reason why these problems exist is because there is a huge divide of, oh, it's not going to work online. Oh, in person is better. And instead of trying to work together, we're trying to work against each other. I asked my child, hey, what did you do today? Oh, I was on Lexia and Dreambox and, oh, I forgot the other name. Snap or knock. Oh, I forgot the name of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what story did you guys read today? Oh, we don't read stories. And you know what? It's all in her perspective, right? Because I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, for sure, that's exactly what happens throughout the entire day. But the reality is when kids go in person, they're actually online quite a bit. So there again lies a problem in working together instead of working against each other. Okay, so how do I know all of this? How do I know my STEP method will help students learn, and why do these problems exist? I've been in the public education field. I've for over 25 years. I'm a certified instructional specialist, an instructional coach, a principal, a teacher, a mom, and I've been blessed to have exceptional results, and I'm recommended by tons of teachers and parents. Throughout my journey of 25 years, as a mom, as a parent, as a principal, as a teacher, as a reading specialist, I was constantly looking for something, that magic sauce, that sprinkle that would help students learn, that would really work for the majority, if not all students, right? Well, at different points, I thought, I found it. This is it. This is that. But then I realized it's not just one thing, it's a combination of several things. And I'm going to share those with you today. And by using that combination, that method, the STEP method, I was able to teach kids to read with confidence, and love to read and love to learn. So let's get into that. Okay. These are some things that parents are saying about my program. Paula, oh my gosh, I love her little boy. I love all my students. Isaac is amazing. He was so super shy when he first started our program. And before you knew it, he was like, boom, 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 answering the questions and reading words and saying sounds. Brianna, I communicate with my parents through Messenger and email and just different applications. Brianna would constantly send me little videos of everything that Autumn was doing. And she was like, oh my gosh, she loves to read. She wants me to record her reading because she is so happy that she can read thanks to you. Ashton, happy birthday, Ashton. Friday's his birthday. He's going to be 6. Amazing kiddo. Like all kiddos, a sponge when they're put in the right environment, right? Now, he goes to school and I tutor him, and I tutor a group of students, and mom is out mom, she jumps in every once in a while. She's like, oh my gosh, he's learning so much in these 45 minutes, more than he's learned all week long. Thank you so much. He's going to be in kindergarten doing second grade math. The right environment, the right teacher, we can make magic happen. Okay, friends, grab a pen and a paper, because I want you to write these steps down. I want you to write these steps down of what you can do to help your child to learn to read. So I'm going to talk to you about the step method. But first, let me talk to you about what you really, really need to create for your child. What kind of about this thing called the new way of learning. It's the learning trifecta. So in order to maximize your child's learning, there needs to be three things going on cohesively. The strategy, which is a step method, which I'm going to go into in a minute. You need to have a good, strong, solid, research-based, effective strategy. You need to have the environment, an environment where your child feels safe and welcomed and cared for and loved. You need that environment. You also need the habits, right? The habits of perseverance and working hard and a growth mindset, developing these habits in line with the environment and the strategy creates an immense amount of success for your child's learning. So let's get into the step method. Okay, so the very first step is a solid foundation. So what this is talking about is that foundation of everything that these are the skills that you need, that you will use in everything, in reading and listening and writing, in speaking, in communicating, the basic number skills, basic literacy skills that will are the building blocks for lifelong learning. But how do you get that, right? Like in reading, because we're talking about reading, the foundation for the students is that they need to learn the sounds. They need to know the phonics rules. They need to know how to blend. They need to know sight words. They need to have that solid foundation. And in order to do that, we need to focus on mastery and not coverage. Sometimes, as teachers, we're so bombarded that we feel like, no, I have to cover page 1 through 20 today, page 1 through 20, just go, 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 go. And friends, it's not about covering the skills. It's about whether our students master the skill, whether our kids master the skill. And how are they going to do that? In little chunks, with continued practice. And again, if we go back to the learning trifecta, is they're learning this strategy in an environment that is safe and welcoming. How are they learning it? Through the habit of practice. They're practicing. So step number 1 is building that solid foundation, because if we don't, then when it comes to reading, they'll get it at first. But eventually, as reading gets more and more difficult, they're going to crumble because they don't have a strong foundation. And we are not going to let our kids crumble. Step 2. Okay, step 2 is all about talk and communication. So we want to challenge our students to think and to talk about what they are understanding. So in order to do that, my kiddos are just like me. They love to talk, and I love it. They need to know how to listen attentively, how to have a laser-like focus in order to have high levels of understanding. So then that way, when they're being asked reading comprehension questions, they're able to respond and reflect. And again, we're giving them information in chunks. So like there's a little chunk of information, and we're asking them, okay, I want you to listen for this. I want you to listen for this. And then they're going to think about it and respond. And when we do that, they're able to retain that information. It's so critical to teach kids how to communicate their understanding, because this has happened so much and it happens all the time. We talked about it, I think it was a couple of weeks ago in one of the lives, how we feel, oh, you know what, or in school sometimes teachers feel like, oh, they must know, the students got what I was teaching. Well, how do we know? Well, you know what, they were nodding, they were responding, so they must have gotten it. And what happens is, if we go back to that trifecta, that new way of learning, maybe the child, your child, didn't feel comfortable asking the teacher for clarification, didn't feel comfortable taking the risk to ask a question. Friends, it happens all the time. And that's where communication is so key. It is important that, as one of the big parts of teaching reading is to teach a child to communicate through that active listening, and that they're able to hold those conversations so they can retain information. Okay, step 3. Now, you look at step 3 and you say, evaluation. These are little kids. How can they evaluate their learning? You better believe they can. Students can reflect on their decisions. They can reflect on their choices. They should be reflecting on their choices and assessing their progress. Because when they come to class and they know, or whenever you're doing like a little study session with your child, if they know the reason they're doing this, if they know the goal, then they're more likely to work towards that. And then at the end of your session, you're asking them, okay, how did it go? How could it have gone better? You're asking them to assess their decisions. How could we have done, what could we have done instead of that? Because mistakes are going to happen, but mistakes can be powerful. When students are learning, that's why they're in school, right? That's why they come to school, to tutoring session, is to grow and to learn. But the reality is, there's going to be challenges. There should be challenges to keep moving them forward. And mistakes are going to happen. They're going to make a mistake. And they're either going to shut down and not say anything, pretend that they know it and not grow, or we could use those as opportunities to say, what can we learn from this? And that is so powerful, because not only is it going to help them grow in their reading capacity, but in every capacity of their life. Hashtag growth mindset, if that's something that resonates with you. Okay, step 4 of the STEP method is perseverance. Reading is not easy. We're not born reading. We learn how to read by not giving up, by experiencing failure and trying again, and then experiencing success. By building that perseverance in students, we help build their self-confidence. And that way, they're finding healthy ways to deal with obstacles. How do you do this? You focus on their strengths. What are they good at? And then you're going to set reasonable expectations. Now, when I say reasonable expectations, I don't mean something super duper easy that doesn't challenge them. But we also don't mean something super, super difficult that they can't even attain, because then they're not going to keep moving forward towards that big, awesome, amazing goal. And then as a community, we show them how to plan, how to move towards that goal of reading, the different academic goals that they have. We start small and we give them sincere praise. We don't give them praise like, oh, yes, we want to give them sincere praise for what they actually can do. So they keep on trying and they keep moving forward. Okay, friends, let's do a quick recap. A solid foundation needs to be built in order for students to read. It's not just about them knowing sight words or reading the same sentence over and over and over again. Those are good strategies, but it will not create a solid foundation. And again, we want a solid foundation for our children. Our children deserve and need a solid foundation so they can continue to be successful in all areas of their life. Hi, Anna. Communication. Communication is so critical because we want them to be able to communicate what they're understanding and what they're not understanding, how they are thinking about the learning. And that happens by helping them be focused on their on the learning that's taking place. Step 3 is evaluation. We're not going to be with our children all the time. We need for them to take a look at their actions and say, is this moving me forward to my goal? Now, they're little. We need to show them how to do that. We need to model for them. So when they're reading, we could ask them like, hey, how's it going? Now, this time that you read the book, did you do better? Well, why was that? Or why not? What could we do to improve? Perseverance. We need to acknowledge that it's going to be hard and that it's going to be okay because we have a plan for success and that we're going to keep moving forward and that it's okay that we're going to do this together. Hi, Monica. Congratulations, friends. Now, if you're still here, you've made a commitment to take action. Now, we can start having a conversation about how Mi Escuelita Online Academy can help build a clear roadmap so that you know how we can help your child be a lifelong learner. And if this makes sense, make sure to book a call with us, a free call, so we can do a student success plan with you. The reality is you have choices. You can take this information and say, okay, I'm hearing the steps, solid foundation. Okay, they need to keep practicing. I need to have them communicate what they're learning. I need for them to continuously evaluate their efforts and their progress. And then I need to remind them and show them how we're moving ahead, how we have this plan. You could take that and kind of guess on how you could teach your child to be a lifelong learner, to be a reader, because that's what we want, right? We want our children to be readers. But I know that if you're attending these lives, if you're here at this training, you don't want guesswork. And again, if you're here, you also don't want the hard work of trying this, trying that. Let me think, maybe this will work. Maybe this other thing will work. Let me, get all these different pieces and let me try at this by myself. And hopefully all this won't come tumbling down. Because teaching a child to read is hard work. Or your third choice is to work with Mi Escuelita using this proven method to catapult your child's learning, to help them to read, to teach them to read beyond the level that they are currently in. Now, friends, success when it comes to reading takes a lot. Now, everybody needs a coach. Students need coaches to help them focus on a specific goal, like reading. Adults need coaches on how do I teach my child a growth mindset? How do I teach my child perseverance or self-evaluation? Because at Mi Escuelita, we are working with our families. In order to have success, you need to work as a community. Okay, friends, I hope that you were able to write these different steps down that will help catapult your child's achievement in the area of reading. If you haven't scheduled your student success session with Mi Escuelita, schedule it now. Our spots are filling up quickly for our summer reading program. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments below. Thank you again for joining us at another training with Mi Escuelita Online Academy. My name again is Lina Munoz, CEO, founder, and head teacher at Mi Escuelita, and I'm wishing you a beautiful Wednesday, and I will see you next week here for our live.